Recording in progress.
Okay.
Okay, it's time. Let's call this meeting to order. Please stand so we can enter the presentation. I pledge allegiance
To the flag of the United States of America and to the republic for which it stands, one nation, under God, indivisible, with liberty and justice for all.
Well, I want to welcome every one of you here. The public comment period matters under the jurisdiction of the MAC and not on the posted agenda may be addressed by the general public at the beginning of the regular agenda and any off-agenda matters before the MAC for consideration. However, California law prohibits MAC from taking action on any matter which is not on the posted agenda unless it's determined to be an emergency by the MAC. Any member of the public wishing to address the MAC during the public comment period shall be permitted to be heard once for up to 5 minutes unless the chair of the MAC sets a different time limit. So with that, we'll go into a public comment. Please go to the podium and let us know your name and address for the record. So everybody at home can identify this.
Roy Winters, I live on corner 9th and Lizzie since 1946. And I hate to beat a dead horse, but I like to find where the horse is at so I can keep him alive. Same old things that I've brought up the last few times. Number one, 24-hour sheriff in this town that we used to have once before, and for some reason they don't have now. But if they're saying we in the Keys doesn't bring up enough taxes to afford that, I think you just agree with that one. Because I know how much taxes I pay, and there's a lot of new towns out there, and I bet you they pay a lot more also. So I hope they don't come up with the, oh, we don't have funds for a sheriff. And that's the same thing I brought up at the last meeting. Some of the things that I'm concerned about to have a sheriff here is speeding, running stop signs, loud music, fireworks, bombs and guns all the time, and running all those stop signs. And so if we had a sheriff in town, a lot of those things could settle down because they could be anywhere in this town in 2 minutes or less. And people would know that, the ones that are doing all these things that we don't like, and they would probably slow down and not do it as much. And that's why we need a sheriff here. I hope there's a lot of people here that agree with that. Okay, the other one is the freeway traffic. You know, most towns up and down the freeways get their sound barrier walls. For some reason, we didn't get ours in the last freeway. We need to have it from Keys Road, which actually would be Nunes Road now, clear to Faith Home. Because I like to sleep with my window open at night, and just the last few nights, with my window open, I'm about 2.5 blocks from the freeway. You can't sleep. It wakes you up, and especially in the morning at 4 or 5 o'clock, and the people going to work, they wake you up. We need that sound barrier. Is there anybody else there agreeing with that? They live close to the freeway or whatever? That's another thing I brought up the last time, and I still will. Of course, then, like I said, I've lived here all my life, and back in the 50s and 60s, we didn't have a trash concern with things all over the streets and up and down the freeways and the highways then. We never had a freeway back when I grew up. But coming into town here on the frontage road, it's always messy. And at the last cleanup deal we had, I had guys out here and we cleaned it up as far as we could before they wanted to go back to the party. That's another thing I won't get into right now. But anyway, then the other thing is the alleys. Years ago, we had to take care of our own alleys. And that was not really a problem. You took care of it. And if you didn't, people would get on to you and you would do it. Now, there's elderly people that can't do that, but that's what we have neighbors for, or somebody else. They know somebody at least we did in those days, that would help them and get it done. But now, if you go around here and look down some of these alleys, if the fire truck needed to go down through there, he'd have a problem. And so that needs to be addressed again, cleaned up. Okay, the last time they said that the county took that over and they're taking care of that. Oh, really? I don't think so. They haven't done it. And so that needs to be taken care of. And whoever's on the committee or whatever that you need to talk to get these things done is what I'm here for, to keep after it. Let's somebody get something done. Nothing's getting done. And that's what I said. We're beating a dead horse. I'm up here hollering about it and crying about this stuff, but it don't seem like nothing's getting done on it. Okay, I think that's just about all for this time. I hope somebody else has got something as important. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Anybody else wants to give public comment at this time? No, hearing none, we'll move on. We'll move on to approval of minutes for July 20th, 2023.
I read the minutes and I make a motion to approve.
Have a motion?
I'll second.
Motion and a second. All in favor?
Aye.
Opposed? No. Motion passes. Okay, we'll move right on to the monthly reports. Stanislaus County Sheriff's Office. Anybody here from the?
I don't think he's here.
No? Okay. California Highway Patrol Officer Moore is here.
Hi, good evening, everybody. Officer Eric Moore with the Highway Patrol. As far as stats for the last quarter and what we responded to or calls we received, 3 non-injury collisions, 2 minor injury collisions, and then 2 non-injury hit and run collisions. About 10 calls for reckless driving, and the other big one was the last quarter we took 10 stolen car reports in Keys for the last 3 months. So
Were they taken from keys or found in keys?
those are reports. If they're found, that's an abandoned or occupied stolen. Those are all reports. We didn't have any abandoned or occupied with thieves in the car. It was all. And I normally can pull the data on what type of car, what year, make, and model, but we got new computers this week, so I didn't have the visibility to that. But I can get it before you can meet us. And Modesto has always been, or Stanislaus County has always been really high for stolen cars, and sometimes it fluctuates with the keys, but that's a decent amount. So, and as far as staffing, we're still struggling, but we have we're to the point now where we're having our normal quarterly transfers. And we have 3 leaving in the 1st of November. We also have 3 coming in. And then I think the next transfer list, which will be spring or end of winter, will be we're gonna be +2. So we're getting 2 additional officers. And we just approved. So right now we're on what we call 9-hour shifts or 980. So we go work 5 days 1 week, and then every other weekend is a 3-day weekend, so 4 days. But we just approved because staffing's been difficult, and we just haven't been able to be where we need to, and don't have, like this week on day shift, I think 3 of the days we had 3 units for the entire county, which is not, that's not acceptable and stuff. But so we've voted, and the state has allowed us to, and a lot of officers are going back to 12-hour shifts. And what that does is, rather than have 3 shifts, you're working 2 shifts, and then we have a couple officers for overlap, but that's going to bump up our officers and cars that go out and shift by only having 2 shifts instead of 3. And that'll probably be effective January, once we get the schedule set. So we'll start seeing more officers on the road, and hopefully that will help us to get in the keys more often by having that. And with the +2 bodies in spring, coupled with the 12-hour shifts, hopefully we can be more. Right now it feels like we're completely reactive. So when a call comes out, we're going to it, and then we're finished up that call, we're going to the next call. Whereas when there's more officers on a shift, we can be more proactive and come into areas and focus on enforcement rather than just responding to calls. But I'll also, to meet your concern, our motorcycle unit, they'll team up with the other motorcycle units with the sheriff's series PD. They'll get 30 officers, and they'll go saturate one area for 1 day. And so I'll request that they come to Keys and hammer down, and hopefully, you'll see some relief as far as stop signs and stuff like that, so.
I have a question for you. Can you clarify what is in the jurisdiction of the CHP officers versus the deputies as far as addressing like speeding, traffic, loud music and so forth? Like what falls under those jurisdictions?
So, we kind of have a moniker for highway patrols, all roads, all codes, but sheriff's the same way. If you're, a peace officer, you have powers to enforce penal code and vehicle code. But normally as far as jurisdiction, we're countywide, so is sheriffs, but majority of their calls are gonna be, penal code related, like, robberies, burglaries, domestic violence, homicides, those type of things. And then whereas we'll focus more on crashes, vehicle code issues, hit and runs. But at the same time, if we need help from them or they need help from us, we both will do that. Or if I was to be traveling through Keys and I happen to see a time in progress, I'm not gonna call the sheriff. I mean, I'll let them know, but I'm gonna take proper enforcement while I'm there. So, but that's usually how it goes. So if somebody calls 911 and says, hey, there's somebody running the stop signs or somebody peeling out or doing this, then they'll relay that to the highway patrol versus you see somebody in a fight or somebody's selling drugs on the street or something, they're gonna relay that to the sheriff's department. So that's usually how it works. But at the same time, like I said, we're there to help one another. Any questions or concerns for us? Yes, sir.
You say that you had 10 vehicle reports of stolen vehicles still on in this town. Were there any recoveries?
No, like I said, no, because I'll pull what we have what, there's stolen vehicle reports, that's where we come to somebody saying, hey, my car was stolen, we'll come and take the report and put it in the stolen vehicle system, so that way, if I'm driving around and I see a car.
So it could be anywhere.
Yeah. So then we have that, so we have stolen vehicle reports, we have stolen vehicles, so if somebody leaves the car here after stealing it, that's an abandoned stolen vehicle. So we'll come and recover that, and then it gets taken out of the system as stolen and returned to the owner. And then there's stolen vehicle occupied, so if we're behind a vehicle that we run the plate and it ends up being flashing stolen, that person will be arrested or whoever's in the car gets recovered. So when I pull the reports, I'll pull all three of those stats, and for this last quarter, the only stats that came up were the actual stolen vehicle reports.
And what quarter are you talking about on that one?
I pulled them from July to our last MAP meeting to today.
Okay. Thank you.
Thank you, everybody, have a good night.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much.
Moving on, fire district, anybody from the fire district? Okay, Stanislaus County Public Works.
Good evening, my name is Elliot from Stanislaus County Public Works Roads and Bridges. And I'd like to address a couple things. The gentleman was the first gentleman that spoke, was talking about the alley rubbish and alley cleanup and stuff. And we do have an alley cleanup crew, but we have one cleanup crew for the entire county. And I'm not sure if you guys are familiar with our Stand Connect app. Well, we have an app where you can go on the app and you can take a picture of the rubbish, type in its location, and it'll make a note and we will get to that note. Or you can call 525-4130 and let them know, where the alley is, and that you can make a note over the phone or through the app. So on the app you can make pothole notes, illegal dumping. We have a chip pile right over here. We're chip sealing all around this area, and we have a big chip pile over there. And someone just went out. Someone stood in the back of a pickup and just threw bags out going down Kaiser Road, right at the bottom of the Faith Home, and we gathered it all up and had it all picked up. And it's quite the job with the homeless problem these days. It's a lot of trash and tons and tons of trash. Tons.
And when you use the app, don't you get notified as it's been viewed and as it's been updated?
When it's finished or updated, yes, yeah. So it is, I know not everybody has a smartphone, so the people that don't can just call the office at Public Works and make a note if there's a pothole or anything that the Roads and Bridges, a sign that's graffitied or someone hit a stop sign or anything, that we would handle, you just call Public Works and let them know, and we'll take care of it. A couple other things, we've scheduled the winter maintenance at the pump station at 10th and Anna. We're gonna pull all 5 of those pumps and replace all the seals and replace all the oil and get them ready for, winter. And, we've been continuing to do our sun and pothole maintenance. Yeah, and I just wanted to let you guys know about that Stan app, and I work for the county, and I make notes with it also, so. It can be a little difficult to use when you're doing your location. There's like a little pin that you gotta put at your location on the app. Once you do it a couple times, and if you have any problems, you can just call our office and let them know what stop sign, just kinda try to be as descriptive as possible so we can get to it. So we know where it's at, so guessing.
I got a question for you.
Yeah.
You say you have one crew that takes care of the alleys and whatnot.
Yes.
How many men are on that crew?
We have, it depends, we have one guy and 8 AWPs.
Oh, for the work program, okay.
Yes.
So, is there anybody that goes around town just looking for things that are like plugged up alleyways or
No.
inaccessible, nothing like that?
Honestly, as we're going down an alleyway cleaning, like if you made a note in West Modesto, as we're cleaning the alleyway, people will be throwing garbage over their fences.
Well, I get that, yeah, I can imagine.
Yeah.
Let me clarify one thing with it. So, 2 things to note in regards to the alley cleanup crew that he's making reference to. So again, this was to, something that the Board of Supervisors approved like a couple of years ago. And it was mainly, I'm not saying that it doesn't happen anywhere else, but like South Modesto, a lot of their alleys were like literally boats, cars, trailers, trash, I mean, you name it, like literally no access whatsoever for emergency vehicles to get through. So anyway, it was just something that we were spending so much money on the side contracting to get some of that stuff cleaned up. So they finally decided that they were just gonna go on ahead and allocate a crew, so one person like they've indicated, and they're working with the alternative work program. But the way that that functions, it's not like we're driving around to see what alleys need to be cleaned up. It's more to get the phone call to identify the alleys that need to be cleaned up, because again, we only have one
Respond
crew,
to the
right?
call.
And I wanna make sure that we're understanding that it's not to mow the lawn, it's not to cut the grass, it's more like, literally like, there's piles of garbage that are happening out there. And it's not to say that they won't mow the lawn, like if it's one of the issue, or the weeds, I should say. But the priority is to remove any significant barrier that would block any emergency vehicle from going through.
What I'm concerned with is not necessarily so much trash, but there's alleyways here that are just full of weeds.
Mhm.
Like my dad said, people don't take care of their backyards outside,
Right.
within the alley like it used to be years ago. So you're the county. The city doesn't have anybody that does that?
Well, we're not a city, but the fire department used to.
Yeah, I was gonna say, I know that the fire department, one of the things that they have done is like outreach in regards to that, especially when the weeds are starting to get dry and tall
Right.
and whatever, and it becomes an
It's
issue.
a hazard.
I think that one of the things that they have done is to like just notify, like literally knock at the door and it's like, hey, this is going on in the back. But I really don't know like beyond that, to be honest with you. I know that in the past, and I did share this in the past, I think like, I used to live in the unincorporated area of Turlock. And I would have an alley on the back, and I remember that the city sent me like notification, like, hey, you need to clean up your alley, like your section of it, or you're gonna get fined. I'm like, my section was clean, but there was an error that they made, and I called fuming, right? Anyway, they later on, like, I guess they stopped doing that because they couldn't hold the owner of the property responsible for the alley, because the alley is considered to be a public access.
Right,
So,
so,
yeah.
but you're talking about times whenever the trash cans were probably in the alley as well, right?
No, this was like
No,
less than 5 years ago.
The alley's always been a touchy situation.
Yeah, and they have been.
Okay, what you said about the fire department, yes, a few years ago, they had a fire person that went around and checked the alleys, and if they had a problem, they would give that person a notice to clean it up, or they would get cleaned up and they would get a bill or lien on a property for that
Oh, okay.
service.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is, we got guys manned down here now from the county. I don't see why they can't do that once in a while when they're not doing nothing. Go take
Their
it.
fire department, that's not at the purview of the county though, that's fire
I
department.
think it's still a touchy subject. Alleys
It
are
is,
always
it
touchy.
is.
But anyway, that would solve some of that, where people could get that notice from the fire department to clean it up, or we'll clean it up and you'll get a bill. But, and then the other thing is, can I get that phone number for Public Works?
Yeah, it's 525-4130. And thank you guys. You guys have any questions?
One last thing I wanted to clarify, sorry. If it is a stop sign that has been knocked over because it is a huge factor in causing accidents or whatever, don't use the app, call it in. Like, that's the best way that they're gonna address it as soon as possible, just as an FYI.
So we have an answering service, so even if it's right now and it's after hours, the answering service is gonna answer. We have on-call personnel, and if it's a stop sign, it will get replaced.
4130?
Yes, sir, right away.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Have a good evening.
Thank you.
Okay, next up, Keys Library on Duncan.
He wrote this late this time.
Hello everyone, my name is Alberto. I'm the Keys Pop-Up Library Supervisor. So I just want to touch up on some things we're doing this month. So October, throughout the libraries, it's dedicated to our teenagers. So we call it Teentober. And so this month, we're having a reading challenge on our online platform, Beanstack. And it's just to promote reading for our teens, and there is some prizes if they decide to join the challenge. Saturday, we are having an anime day for all the teens. It will be happening in Salida, 11 a.m. to 3 p.m. There's going to be pizza, some anime movies, activities, prize drawing, and then cosplay. And then throughout the month, we do have an anime trivia quiz. They can stop by at our library, get a small little trivia paper sheet, and once they answer it, they get put into a drawing for a prize. And then other than that, so the county has given us COVID tests, the rapid antigen test. We have probably about 100 right now. So those are free to pick up if you needed some. We do have them at all our libraries right now while supplies last. And I just want to bring up their expiration date. It says September, but it's actually extended through January. And all that information we can give to you, but we do have those tests available. And update on the Keys Library. So like I said, right now we are at a pop-up status. We have relocated to the community center on Jenny. We are in the back of the community center, so if you're familiar with the room, is where PAL used to have their computer lab room. We still have plenty of services. We still have Chromebooks that if you need to use a computer. We still have our printers, our LDS machines, so you can make copies, send something to your email, or even fax. And those services are free. Printing is 10 cents for black and white, 25 cents for color. And then also we do have a small collection of books, children, adult, and some DVDs, and some take-home craft for the children. And then the last thing I want to touch is my visual today. So this is Project STEAM Kit. It's a grant we got, and STEAM just stands for Science, Technology, Engineering, Art, and Math. And these kits are encouraged for, well, this one specifically is 4th grade and up. We do have, I believe, 2 for kinder and 3rd grade, but this one's music and sound. So there's a cool little instrument inside. It's called a kalimba. And I'll just bring it out just to show you, because I didn't know where kalimba was.
You just want to show off your skills.
Oh no, I have no idea how to play it. And Jeff, I'll give you my notes. So this is a kalimba. There's a booklet in here if you want to learn the notes and everything. I tried it and I was like, what does this even mean? I'm not that musically inclined. But it teaches them, promotes sound and everything. There's also a digital board that you can connect to your computer or download the app on your smartphone, and you can actually create music electronically. And these kits are pretty much just to promote learning in different ways. There's different ones that we have. We have an outdoors one, we have one for coding and engineering, and we also have an electricity one. These are completely free to check out. They check out like anything else in our library. They check out for 3 weeks, then you return it, and on to the next one if you like. But that's all the information I have, and if you're interested, I do have a flyer with that. But any questions?
You kind of rock and roll star or one of those?
No. So we also, just really quick, we have ukuleles. That's what I'm trying to learn right now.
Okay.
It's I think it would be a good incorporation for story time, but still trying to learn 4 strings. It's hard.
I challenge you to do that by the next presentation next quarter.
I will try to play some notes.
As you're delivering your message.
Just put your iPhone in your pocket and take a break.
Just don't ask me to get more because it's only 30 seconds. Yes.
What's the latest on your state parks ticket passage?
So we still have those available. So right now, with kids back in school, I think we have most of them in stock. But it's pretty much the same thing. It allows you to go to about over 200 California state parks. You check it out with your library card. It checks out for 2 weeks, and you get free 1 vehicle access to any of those parks. And just for in case, Yosemite, it would not allow you to. That is a federal park. Our nearest state park would be Caswell. They're on the Ribbon area.
Yeah.
Thank you guys.
Thank you.
Stanislaus County PAL, anybody here?
No.
Okay,
Oh, perfect, thank you.
Board of Supervisors, Supervisor Conduct, District 5.
Yeah.
Okay, Assemblyman Juan Alanis, District 22.
There was a conflict in their schedule. They were planning to be here, but they couldn't make it.
Okay. Stanislaus County Chief Executive Office.
I'm gonna give my spot before I go up to Gavin Klein. He's with Congressman Duarte's office, and he's here, so Gavin.
Oh, yeah.
Hello, everybody. Thank you guys for the opportunity. My name is Gavin Klein with the Office of Congressman Don Duarte. Just want to give you guys a little bit of information on our office location as well as what's going on currently with the Congressman and in Congress. Our office is 90th South First Street in downtown Turlock. We have a great staff of caseworkers that any federal agencies, IRS, veterans, passports, immigration, those are all services that we can offer with help. All we would need is privacy release form for you to fill out, and then we can start working on behalf of yourself with those federal agencies. Going on a little bit about Washington, D.C. right now, Congressman Duarte has been hard at work at our nation's capital advocating for our priorities here in our district. And Congressman Duarte is working tirelessly to pass fiscal responsible budget bills. Congressman Duarte voted to fund a 45-day continuing resolution to prevent a government shutdown, providing us with adequate time to pass the budget bills for the upcoming fiscal year. Though this is a short-term solution, we will need to find something to better manage our spending that we currently have going on. One more thing actually. Congressman Duarte's goal is to get back to work on behalf of the American people, get legislation done that can benefit our country and our district, and also move our country forward. Another bill that we just co-sponsored yesterday, I believe, it's HR 4713. And what this does, it provides much needed support to the rural hospitals by offering them resources and guidance necessary to remain open to continue serving their communities. This includes technical assistant and financial management, infrastructure upgrades, and healthcare innovation. This bill ensures that working families receive the medical attention they deserve regardless of their zip code. And then another thing that's honestly really cool that our office gets to do, as a congressional office, we have the opportunity for Congressional Service Academy nominations. Navy, West Point, Merchant Marine. It's a great opportunity for those who are interested in the service academies. Our office, I believe the number is 12 Service Academy nominations that we can give within a congressional year. So if anybody's interested in that or knows some high schooler, preferably seniors, those are the ages, that's the grade that will get the nomination. But even freshmen, sophomore, juniors, if they're interested, we did a Service Academy nomination night in Atwater High School. We had the Navy, West Point, the Air Force, the Coast Guard came, the Merchant Marine unfortunately wasn't able to make it. But if those are all service academies that anybody that you might know that's interested, please have them reach out to myself or our office. I can give you guys my cell number and email as well, and our office number. Our office number is 209-226-6880. So my cell is 202-725-6557. It's a Washington DC area code. I've never been to Washington. Born and raised in Stockton, so.
Can you say the last four again? 76?
725-6557. And please, if there's any questions, concerns, always feel free to reach out to myself or our office. I forgot one more thing. Our deadline for our Service Academy nominations, October 31st, and the information to apply for that is on our website at duarte.house.gov. So, thank you all for your time today.
Did they vote in a new speaker yet?
Not yet, no sir. There's, from what I understand, that there is going to be a speaker vote tomorrow at 10 a.m. So the Congressman, it's time to get a speaker in the House so we can get to work on behalf of the American people, especially our district. The government shutdown is very hurtful to our district as a working family district. So it's very, yes sir. So it's very important to keep the government open and keep the federal agencies funded. So the Congressman is working very diligently to make sure that we can continue working in government.
Good.
Thank you all for your time.
Thank you.
Thank you.
So I don't have a lot to report because I normally try to send out emails with a lot of the stuff that is going on. But I did want to, Roy, I just wanted to let you know that the concerns that you brought up last quarter when we met, I did make sure that even though we didn't have somebody from the supervisor's office here, I did make sure that they were aware of the concerns that were brought up. I don't want you to think that there's not any progress being made because like anything else, it does take time. So again, I encourage you to continue to be the squeaky wheel. It does continue to keep it on our radar, and it's something that, that's how it serves, right, to constantly just be on it. So I appreciate your consistency on bringing up those issues. So again, I will make sure that they are aware that they were brought up again, okay? One of the other things that I really want to recognize, I know that we don't have somebody here from Juan Alaniza's office, but one of the things that I really want to recognize is like I've been in this position for like 5 years now. I'm sorry, I don't know if it's just over there. I'm sorry. I've been in this position like 5 years or so forth, and this is the first year that the last couple of years that I can tell you that you really have individuals from the Assembly's office and from Congressman Duarte's office that is heavily involved, and including Senator office from Maria Alvarado Gil in being so involved out in the community. So seriously, if you guys have any issues or anything of that sort, and if you don't remember Gavin's number, feel free to reach out to me because we work very closely on a lot of the issues that are going on. So again, just take advantage of having somebody that's heavily involved in your community, that when you have those issues, take advantage of it. I did want to share with you guys, there are, as you know, Dia de los Muertos is right around the corner, and it is something that is a cultural celebration for the Hispanic community. In San Luis County, we have roughly 49% of the population that is Hispanic. So I just wanted to share with you that there are two huge events that are happening on Saturday, the 21st, in downtown Modesto. There's a huge Dia de los Muertos celebration that everything starts at 11, and I think it's like at 8 o'clock. You're talking about vendors, dances, performances, like really getting into the culture. So even if you're not Hispanic, I encourage you guys to attend because it's a great opportunity to learn about the culture and just be involved in everything that is going on. October 28th, a week after, at Fairview Park in South Modesto, there's also going to be a huge celebration going on. It is in partnership with San Luis Parks and Recreation, the Sheriff's Office, and several other resources. So, and also at both of these events, you will have resource tables available. So any type of community-based organization that you can think of, most likely they will be there, from 30 to 50 from what I'm hearing. So it just like really take an opportunity. If you want to find them in one place, this is the place. And also take spending money because I'm sure that there's going to be a lot of cute stuff for spending. That's all that I have, but please, again, I encourage the community that is here, and again, to our members, don't wait until we have a MAC meeting. If you have any questions or you need me to follow up or address anything, always feel free to reach out to me. Okay.
Thank you. Stanislaus Regional Transit.
Here I am.
Oh, okay.
Good evening, Angela Swanson, Stanislaus Regional Transit Authority. Came here to share 3 key topics with you. So the first, I'm going to just pass on some photos we have of our blighted bus stops in your community that many of you are probably aware of. I'll hold on to one of the photos for the audience to be able to see as we're talking. So we have 2 bus stops in town. They get tagged a lot. We came here in part to tell you, first, we're aware of this. We have staff that come by nearly every day. We have hubs assigned to do cleanup that come by to clean as much as possible. We are aware that they attract not the best quality individuals, so that we have people who miss getting the bus because they'll actually be standing 5 to 10 feet away from the bus stop because they're intimidated by who's there or by the trash or by what's going on with the tagging, and the bus driver will not recognize them as being there waiting for the bus, and they'll pass them by, which means someone doesn't get to school, they don't get to work, they don't get to a doctor's appointment on time, and we understand it's a problem and we're working on it. We've also had these are designed, so part of the strength of these comes from the grill that's on the back of it, you know, the panel. They've been kicked out so many times, we've given up on them and we've taken them out. So it eliminates at least some of the tagging that can be done, but it's also not quite as, it's not gonna fall down, but it's not as it was designed to be. And it provides less protection from the elements because the way the top is designed, even though this is just metal mesh, it would help protect weather from getting in, so someone sitting here won't get as much protection. So I'm sharing this with you to let you know, yes, we know that this is not optimal. We're working on it, we're trying to work. I was hoping we might have a sheriff's officer still here, but I guess I'm behind this, the guns, the firecrackers, and the speeders for getting any attention. But to please, if it does happen, to give us a call, let us know. Our phone number locally to customer service, we do have an app called Ask the S, Stan RTA. Why did I pass on that, Mr. Moore? That usually comes rolling up my tongue. Or you can call customer service at 209-527-4900, and we'll send a cleaning crew out that comes and cleans it up. And we're doing our best to work on it and to partner with local law enforcement. But the reality is we know their resources are stretched, and we've got problems. But it's disheartening to see just what's happening with the signs when we have so many people who need to use your service. On a happier note, 2 last
Angela,
things.
really quick, I'm sorry.
Yes, ma'am.
Can we not call graffiti abatement to have that done, or are you trying to get the sheriff involved so that they could document in case it's getting
We're trying to deal with the trash and with the homeless people that are there and doing all the damage. We have a crew, we do the graffiti.
Got it,
We all deal
okay.
with the graffiti on our own. We deal with graffiti on all of our
Okay.
sites. So we would love to have, I mean, if we need help, that's a way we could reach out and deal with it.
Okay.
But it's just,
Right.
So the bus doesn't stop if there's not somebody sitting there?
what the bus looks for is for somebody to be near the stop, because you know, when they do the route, there'll be 50 stops along the route, and to stay on time, and most of them don't have it. So they expect someone to be within 5 feet or so of the bus stop area, standing beside, and they'll expect you frankly to kind of give a wave or to let them know. For you, you only have 1 route serving it, so it's pretty straightforward, but there are several bus stops that may have 4 or 5 routes serving it. So signal them, let them know you're for it. But if you're standing all the way over here, hang out, especially when you're out in front of the parking lot where the store is, and you're just standing right here, bus driver's not gonna necessarily think, if they're not a regular passenger, that this is someone waiting for the bus. Mr. Morrow probably has some thoughts on that.
You would think if they wanted a bus ride, they would let the driver know, pick me up.
You'll get busy, you're standing there waiting, things are
They're
going
on-
on, your
they're on
hands
their
are
phones,
full.
yeah.
And if you don't ride a lot, to be honest, especially if you have a driver who you know, because a lot of times, you know, the schedules will sync. It's like, Joe knows me, Joe's gonna pull over, and then it's not Joe driving that day, so it's someone else who doesn't recognize you fast enough.
I never had any problem.
There you go. You know, some things happen, but anyway, the goal is for us to work together. Let us know to be aware of it. And we've tried to instill in our operators as they're driving the buses through to be more aware of those stops, because we've had problems with the stop not feeling necessarily as safe as we'd like it to. You know, for someone to be right there to be more alert to stop. On a brighter note, on October 29th, your route currently is called the 15. It's getting rechristened to be the 29T, as in 29 to Turlock. We have a basically the 29 route goes from Modesto all the way to Turlock. Half the time it only goes to Ceres, like on the half hour it goes to Ceres, and on the hour it'll go all the way to Turlock. It was confusing because it had two names, and everyone was on the same bus, so you literally would sometimes have people get off the 15 thinking they had to get on the 29 and then have their bus just drive away on them. So now it's all just gonna be the 29, and you just have to know what's going on. So that'll be christened, and so hopefully that'll just make your bus service work in a more logical way to you. We have a couple of other minor tweaks going on, nothing real major. And then the last small thing that's nice to share as we're coming up to it, the board of directors on the 26th will be meeting to vote on creating a new category, which is to make it fare-free for veterans and active military to use the bus. They requested that we explore doing this, so I'm entirely optimistic that we'll have unanimous vote and support, but of course we have to wait for them to do it. But that will go into effect on Veterans Day and on all of our services. So if you want to ride BART, take a trip to BART, go to the ACE train, go to Stockton, go anywhere in the county, use our dial-a-ride services or our ADA services. They're all hopefully be free to veterans too. So that's awesome. It's an awesome little thing that we can do for members of our community. So, so we have a board member here, so you can lean on him a little bit and try to curry his vote and support. But those were just a couple of key things I wanted to share with you all and to stay if there's probably not, but if there's any feedback that you've had about bus ridership or service needs that you have in the community, please. I'll be coming to these meetings every quarter just to be one more connection to you all, to make sure we're giving you the best service we can.
Thank you.
Just to add to Angela's comment, I do sit on the board of directors. I'll give you my email. If you have any questions, you can always send me an email and I'll make sure it gets forwarded to the right person.
Perfect.
So my email is smorrow, SMORROW, @stanrta.org. And it's also listed on the board of directors page on the website. So people send me emails and I know who to pester, so I pester the right person.
That's everybody but Erica.
Yeah, right.
You need to lose that email address.
It's been deleted.
I'll pay more attention to what Erica says.
Okay, and then Keys Community Services District. Got a couple of short videos to show you. How do we?
You have the mouse right there. Yep. So if you close that or minimize it, like go to the. Here, I'll do it on this side.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Let's let her do it. She's there.
Yeah, that's it.
Oh,
What's it say?
So it wasn't your fault.
it's okay, we can. Oh, you have the mouse one? It's moving. It says you can minimize Zoom viewer.
Have a good night.
Can I take over?
Hold on one second.
I apologize, I left a very important piece of my report, my email.
Okay.
Gavin, Gavin Gavin.Klein, CLINE, the @ mail, MAIL, .house, Sorry about that.
Can Erica email you?
I email him often and text him. Okay, here you just use the mouse and then go down if you want.
Is that the one on Niagara Water?
Yep, the very
Okay.
top.
Very top one, so.
Okay, Niagara Water, let's click that and not that.
As a valued customer of our water utility, we want to provide you with the best customer service experience. As part of our recent meter reading technology upgrade, we are now providing you with a new online portal called Ion Water that lets you quickly see how much water you're using, whether you have a potential leak, and provides tools to help you use water more efficiently. The portal acts like a dashboard that is organized into 4 modules: leaks, at a glance, your meter, and historical consumption graphs. Let's take a quick tour. Choose your language by clicking the account settings icon in the upper right-hand corner. From this menu, you're able to add your photo or link additional water utility account to a single login. ION Water features a robust help menu to answer any questions not covered in this video. The leaks module is featured in the upper left-hand corner. When flowing water is detected every hour for 24 hours, the amount is displayed in the leaks section of your personal ION Water dashboard. If a potential leak is not detected, the system will display "No leak detected, great job." You can configure ION Water to send you leak alerts as email or text messages by clicking the blue button labeled Edit Leak Alert. The alert configuration wizard for your meter opens. For residential users where continuous usage is not expected, set the expected flow type for your meter by choosing intermittent flow on the right. Click the right arrow to move to the next step. Set a maximum flow threshold. An alert will be sent when flow exceeds that threshold for 24 consecutive hours. While there is no one-size-fits-all answer to that question, we recommend setting a low threshold no more than 1 to 5 gallons per hour. This will help you spot most common sources of household leaks, including dripping faucets, leaky toilets, and broken sprinkler pipes. Click the right arrow to move to the next step. In the Add Email box, type the email address where you want your leak notification sent to, and click the plus sign. Repeat this step for all email addresses you want an alert sent to. To get alerts delivered as text messages on your mobile phone, enter the phone number as an email address in the format supported by your cellular provider. Click one of the buttons to have an alert sent once every day, 2 days, or 3 days. Click the right arrow to move to the next step. From the preview menu, click the Start, Reminder, and Stop buttons to preview each notification. Use the alert status switch to activate and deactivate the alert. When you're satisfied, click Save. The At a Glance module. From this section of your ION Water dashboard, you can quickly see whether you are using more or less water than you used the previous 7 days. The leftmost portion of the At a Glance section shows you the percentile increase or decrease of usage over the prior week. The middle portion shows you exactly how much water you consumed during the last 7 days compared to what you used during the 7 days before that. Your average daily usage is also shown. The bar graph on the right shows even more detail. Hover your cursor over the bars to see how much water you use on a given day and compare it to the same day of the previous week. The horizontal green line shows your 30-day average use. In the Your Meter module, you'll see how often your meter is read, the last time it was read, the current reading, and when the next reading is scheduled. The Historical Consumption Graph module on your ION Water dashboard lets you see your water usage for a period of time. The buttons located along the top of the consumption graph allow you to change the time frame to minutes, hours, days, weeks, months, or years. To change the time frame, click the desired interval button. Use the arrows to step back or forward, or click Today to jump to the current day. Click the calendar icon to select a month, year, and date to jump to a specific day. Click the Compare icon to view previous usage based on the current selected time frame as described in the chart. ION Water also allows you to add temperature and precipitation overlays to your consumption graph for additional analysis. If you would like to print or download the currently displayed graph, click the Print Download button. To export your historical consumption in CSV format, click the Export Data button. Select the start date and end date. Select the desired read interval to export, and lastly, select the desired unit of measurement. When satisfied, click Start Data Export. When the export is complete, download the results file by clicking the Click to Download link. Your data can be viewed using a spreadsheet program such as Microsoft Excel or Google Sheets. Well, let's get you signed up. From the Sign Up webpage, enter your service or billing area zip or postal code in the appropriate field. Next, enter your account number found on your water bill in the field labeled Account Number. Click Next. In the first field, enter your name. In the second field, enter your email address. Confirm your email by retyping it in the third field. Lastly, create and confirm a password. Your password must be a minimum of 8 characters and no longer than 16 characters. Click the checkbox to accept the terms and conditions of the Ion Water portal. You will get a confirmation email from Badger Meter Incorporated. Verify your email address by clicking the link found in the confirmation email. You're all set and ready to explore your personal water usage. We hope you enjoy the Ion Water.
Yeah, I have a question about that.
Yeah.
Can it tell you what's in the water?
Pardon?
Can it tell you what's in the water?
No. But anyway, it's easy to sign up. I did mine on here because we have about 1,400 connections, and we've already got meters on about 1,100 of those. So we're getting close to completing it all. And it's pretty cool because the meters that don't have this smart meter yet, we can also profile, but you have to request it. We can take our laptop, go down there and give you all the information as to when you last used water, or if you have leaks, or if you have any of those things. But it's available, so all you have to do is go to Ion Water. As a matter of fact, there's some sheets here that explain it all, and they're there on that table. So if you want to take it, it'll give you a step-by-step as to how to sign up for it. And,
It's all to do with monitoring your usage of water. That's what this program's all about, right? Right.
yes.
I'm concerned with what's in the water.
Well, that's another thing.
Okay, well, I just thought that was a concern too.
Well, with what's in the water, you get every year through our consumer confidence report. Every year, Christie is the one who sends it out, and in it shows all the tests of the water and what are the issues, and et cetera.
It's available on our website.
And it's
and up
also
here.
available on our website if you want to know what's
I
in
like the
our water.
alerts on this program because if you're on vacation, I mean, something
Yeah.
breaks or something like that, and if it gives you an alert, at least you can reach out to somebody right away.
Yeah, exactly, because it notifies you, says, hey, you have a leak, and if you're gone, you have, mine says, hey, no leak detected, great job,
Yeah.
so.
Either that or somebody's using your house while you're on vacation.
Or your house is flooded.
Anyway.
Your house is flooded out and come from the flood better.
Okay, thank you for me.
Okay, yeah, and then also on our, we're about to get started, do we just close that and go to the
Yep, go ahead
next
and
one?
close that. There you go.
Okay. No, this one is going to show you, we're gonna put in the TCP treatment filters, and they're gonna be on that empty lot right next to the PAL building. And this is what it's gonna look like. See, this is what they have in Livingston. That's a picture there. That's you can see the Calgon filters in the back there. So I just wanted to show you what it's going to be looking like. And we've already submitted partial plans to the state board. They're reviewing them. And so we should be going out to bid pretty quick, and so that we can get that treatment in. And again, this is another $10.4 million grant that we got, so we don't have to worry about any rates going up or any some such. Okay?
Are you guys looking to do a brick wall or metal fence?
It's gonna be like that. The split block.
With the gates.
Yeah, and here's a little video of what Livingston looks like. That's why we went down there and took a look at it with our engineers, and we said, okay, this is pretty much what we want. Okay, and so.
And so is it working for them?
Pardon?
Is it working for them? What's the results?
They removed the 1, 2, 3 TCP, it's done what it's
So that's
supposed to
just
do.
working for them.
Yes, it is. And another thing, which is a good thing also, is we found out that these granular activated carbon will also remove PFAS, which is these forever chemicals that they're finding in the water. But we recently got our test results back and we don't have any, right?
Right. Yeah, it seems they're a little behind.
Yeah, but if we did, the granular activated carbon would filter it all out, so that's a great thing. Okay, all right, well, moving on from there, we'll go to information items. Crisis Care Mobile Unit, Stanislaus County Behavioral Health and Recovery Services presentation.
Good afternoon, folks. My name is Horacio,
My name is Alicia.
and we are from the Stanislaus County Mobile Crisis Response Team. We are a team that was developed in order to respond to active psychiatric emergencies in the community. So we respond to active suicide calls, anything that may involve substance use emergencies, and we work closely with law enforcement in the community to respond to these calls.
We are currently dispatched through 911, so we receive all of our referrals through 911 dispatch. We work from 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. Monday through Friday currently. We are anticipating to go 24/7 the first of the year.
So in Modesto, we work closely with the Modesto Police Department. We have a clinician riding along with the unit, responding to calls in the community. And then for the rest of the county, we respond with Sheriff's Office, so we go out and meet with them. We also have an EMT on the team that can go out with us to respond to these calls. And like I said, we respond to houses, homeless, schools. We deal with adults, with children, and we respond to any calls that would have to do anything that may be like 5150, that may meet that criteria for a psychiatric hold, or anything that may have to do with a substance use emergency.
The only thing that we would defer out would be a quality of life call.
So like, we get a lot of complaints of like homelessness. That would be a different program that's going out to respond. You can contact your 911 if there is an emergency. But like I said, we strictly deal with the calls that are coming in. So if you, the best way that you can contact us would be calling that 911 number and just letting them know, hey, there's somebody that's experiencing a possible psychiatric emergency, or possibly either an overdose, something that may involve a substance use emergency. And then that way they can route the appropriate team to the scene.
How many teams do you have on duty?
So currently we do have one team. We have a team that's split, so we have a morning shift and then a PM shift. So we are working from Monday through Friday, 8 a.m. to 8 p.m. But like we said, starting January 1st, we are going to be rolling out 24/7. It is kind of a work in progress to see what that's going to look like and how we're going to be responding. We will be expanding as far as how we can get contacted once we do go to 24/7. But right now we're still in the works of trying to see what that's going to look like. But right now we do receive our referrals through the 911 dispatch.
How big is your team then? Like how many people?
So right now we have one manager, we have 4 behavioral health specialists, and then we have 5 clinicians that work with us currently.
And so you guys can all go separate ways if you need to.
So we do roll out in partners. So we do roll out. So what it looks like is we'll have a clinician go out onto the scene and doing a crisis evaluation. If they deem that the person does not meet criteria for a crisis hold, then they will contact the behavioral health specialist. On our sheriff's side, we do have a behavioral health specialist already go out with the sheriff's office. And the role of the behavioral health specialist is to connect with the people and offer them resources, try to get them connected to services, A lot of times it's just educating them. Hey, these are the services that are available to you. So what the team has done is we have gone out to the different cities in Stanislaus County and just kind of, hey, what are the resources that are available in this community? And we've gained that knowledge that way. When we go out to meet with people, we can let them know, hey, you're in the city of Keys, these are the resources that are available to you. If not here, then in a nearby city like Modesto, these services are available to you. A lot of times it's just education for people because they don't know how to navigate through an experience like that. And so a lot of them is just reassuring them. If they do have loved ones that do meet criteria for a hold, we kind of explain what that process looks like and just kind of, try to ease that whole experience for them and then just try to connect the family as well as the person that's going to be
The
hospitalized.
behavioral health specialist not only provides support to the person in crisis, but the family as well, anybody who's involved. We
And
provide
most of the
that
time you
psychological
find out
support.
they're scared of the sheriffs or the police officers, they wanna
Correct.
deal with a normal person.
Yeah.
Right?
And I think that we've gotten a lot of positive feedback from people when they're like, oh wait, it's not law enforcement that I have to
I'm
talk
not
to.
gonna get in trouble?
Yes,
Yeah.
and so they kind of open up to us and then, hey, this is what I'm going through, I was afraid to call 911. We get that all the time. We were afraid to call 911 because we didn't know what was gonna happen. So it eases them to be able to open up to us and for us to be able to try to connect them with services that they may not have known that were available.
And we
to
don't
them.
just hand them a phone number and say, have a nice day. We sit there with them and make that call with them. So we educate them on how to make the call, the correct things to communicate to the person they're trying to connect to. And we teach them that process so that, we don't have to come back out the next time this happens. We taught them to fish and now they can catch their own, basically.
Excuse me, what if you had like a sheriff bring you a person with dementia? Do you guys do the same?
So the dementia call is, we would still respond. We would come out there, we would provide a different type of service. We would educate them on where they can get resources for that. But for dementia, you would not place somebody on a hold. It's medical and not behavioral.
So the sheriff would just take them back home or contact?
So we're mobile, so we meet with them wherever they're at.
Oh.
Yeah, we don't have like a central location where we have clients brought to us. We're a mobile team, so we do go out and respond anywhere in Stanislaus County. So we've had calls here in Keys, we go to Turlock. We've slowly have worked, now that we're getting closer to the 24/7 rollout, we have slowly worked in connecting with the different city PD departments, so Turlock, Ceres we just connected with, and the other surrounding police departments to try to go to their debriefing, see what they're seeing, and how we can better assist each other.
It's pretty exciting.
That's great.
We do have a 24/7 support line. We work closely with the CERT program, the Community Emergency Response Team. They are a 24/7 access line. That phone number is 209-558-4600. And that is a 24/7 crisis and support line. It is also a resource line, so if there's resources that people need to get connected with, they can always call, speak to somebody, and either get resources, talk to somebody if they are experiencing crisis. They can also dispatch law enforcement or our team as well. They will get in contact with us and then we can respond to a call that way as well. So.
Horacio, how about the coverage for service? How is that taken care of?
So Medi-Cal, we primarily work with Medi-Cal and Medicare. If they have private insurance, we can assist in getting them connected to their insurance, but that is not something that we would be able to do an assessment for.
We do get some calls like that. A lot of times we will consult with law enforcement. They are able to place somebody like that on hold, but we can still consult with them and work with them and be like, hey, this is probably your best avenue. That you can take with
If they
them.
have private insurance, you can't help them?
No, we provide the education to the officer because the officers can put a hold as well, and they stay with us on scene. So if they have private insurance, we are unable to place the hold, but the officer still can.
So they can still get the psychiatric hold that they need in order for them to get hospitalized and referred.
The police officer could have done that without you guys. They do it all.
That is correct,
they do
but
it
we have a
anyways.
higher success rate of de-escalating the problem when we're on scene.
So we've actually
No, I think it's a great program, but you're
Yeah.
turning people away that have health insurance.
They're not turning them away.
No.
That's what he's telling you. Like
Right.
normally they would be the ones doing everything, but when they do find out that they have a private insurance, then the police officer can step in and walk them through the rest of the process. so that their insurance can, still take care of it, because they can't take private
And if
insurance.
they have private insurance, we can also help them pick their provider. There's certain things that we can do. We just can't place them on a hold.
You'd be surprised how many people have private insurance and don't realize that they can actually access mental health services through their primary care physician.
Yeah.
A lot of them, we educate them. We educate them on what that process looks like, and just let them know, hey, you can access these resources through the insurance you already have.
The insurances are not forthcoming about that point.
Yes, that is very true. So, like I said, a lot of it is education, and sometimes there are programs that are available that they don't really ask questions, they just connect people. So, like I said, we go out there and inform people and just educate them on different things that are available. So.
And with our program's expansion, we will be hiring a peer navigator as well. And that's going to assist in having somebody who's been through the process also educate the clients on how to walk through those doors.
So you're educators.
That's primarily the main focus
Primarily,
of our job. Yeah.
crisis de-escalators as well. So a lot of times it's just taking that time, having that patience, having that experience, knowing what a mental health crisis actually looks like. Because you'd be surprised how sometimes we do get calls and they're like, it's a mental health crisis. And it's just somebody that's either agitated, yelling. It's not a crime to be yelling. Now, if you are causing a disturbance, it's something different. And so we approach every incident differently. But like I said, it is a team that's designated to respond to those crises.
And a lot of times it's people who are already connected to the system, but they ran out of medication. And it's a simple education of taking them to the nearest emergency room and telling them I'm out of my mental health medication, and then the emergency room will provide a supply.
With a lot of our homeless population, you also have clients that are currently connected to services, but their providers cannot locate them. So then when we come across them, we are that link that connects them back. Hey, Telecare, wherever it is in the community, what program it is, we contact them, let them know, hey, we came across your client today, either they were hospitalized or they are in this area, and we are trying to see if you can come out and engage with them. That way you guys can start connecting again and seeing what further resources and services you guys can connect them with. So that's been pretty successful with contacting the other treatment teams.
Any questions?
That number again?
The 24/7 number is 209-558-4600.
And we did leave some brochures and booklets on the back table there if you would like to read up.
Only one all night went slow with the phone number. They just race it out.
And that phone number is on those pamphlets as well.
On the smaller.
Thank you, guys.
All right. Thank you guys.
Okay, now we have a presentation from Stanislaus County Planning Community Development Department and Stanislaus County 6th Cycle Housing Element Update and update and amendment to the housing element of the Stanislaus County General Plan. Proposed 2023 to 2031 housing element includes goals, policies, objectives, and programs to further opportunities for housing to households in the unincorporated areas of Stanislaus County.
It's a long title.
Oh.
It is.
Did you make that up for yourself?
Yeah, that's my presentation. Okay, so I'll try to be quick, and then you guys can ask questions if you're interested. But as an unincorporated community, you're under Stanislaus County jurisdiction, and so we have what's called a general plan that's made up of 7 different elements. Most of those are required by the state. One is optional, our agricultural element, but the one that has the most tightly controlled and restricted by the state requirements is the housing element. And the state, the Housing and Community Development Department, HCD of California, has about 12 million rules we have to meet, boxes we have to check, data we have to process, and we have to do this every 8 years. So it's an 8-year cycle, and then it goes to HCD for 90 days. There's a back and forth, and they're going to certify this housing element. They have to, because if they don't, then there's consequences. We can be open to a lawsuit. Our whole general plan is then not, eligible for various, a wealth of state grant funding. And it's not just for planning, it's for parks, it's for public works, it's all sorts of funding that we're no longer eligible to receive. So there's a lot at stake and a lot of requirements. Erica's heard me do this presentation a lot of times, so I feel bad for you, but so there's just kind of the basics I wanted to go over in the housing element. And so it assesses what our current needs are, what our future needs are, and identifies opportunities and constraints for housing production. And it updates practices and regulations to reflect new state laws. The first part of the housing element, which is available on our website if you want to review it, is really just that assessment piece. And then there is what's called the sites inventory, which I'll get into. And then the last part is our housing program. So these are implementation measures that the planning department is going to work with other departments in the county to implement over the 8-year cycle. Let's see, I already went over that. So the RENA, just a brief introduction to the RENA.
Slide 10, right? Tell them what slide 10
Oh,
is.
sorry, yeah. I'm skipping all over the place. Slide 10, page 5. The RENA is what's called the Regional Housing Needs Allocation. So the state of California comes up with a number of housing units that each county needs to accommodate in that 8-year cycle. And then they give it to STANCOG or whatever the local agency is over that county. And then that STANCOG takes the number and uses a variety of demographic information and other information to split the number of housing units for each jurisdiction. And so you can see on the next slide that the number for Stanislaus County that the state identified was 34,344 units are needed for the next 8-year cycle to meet our projected population growth. And then you can see on that slide how that number got separated by each jurisdiction. So Modesto, City of Modesto got a really large number because they're near transit, they're a larger city, they have a higher population. They got 11,248. And the county, on the other hand, unincorporated county, got around 2,400 units. Part of that decision making was recognizing that a lot of unincorporated county is made up of agricultural lands and that they don't necessarily want to grow residential development out in those ag lands. And we then have to take that number and break it down by income categories. So we have a certain number we have to meet for lower income, moderate, above moderate, and then here's the total number. And we have, certain deductions we can make, like how many accessory dwelling units have been built or how many subdivisions are in the process. And then, let's see. I'm now moving to page 9, slide 18. Then we have to go through a process of looking at all of the sites in unincorporated county to find where we could accommodate these housing units, and we have to show to HCD that we can accommodate 2,400 plus additional units in these various income categories. And each of those sites has to meet these criteria. That's based on lot size, its location, the ability to have water and sewer services, if it's going to have a higher density, and then we have to get public input. And we have to demonstrate that there are trends in development that would, show that this is actually cool. So we identified a total, in order to do this, we have to create something called a rezone program, which means that some of the properties that we've identified need to have a capacity for a higher number of units. We have a lot of low-density residential zoning districts throughout the county, throughout all of California, but the Central Valley is really known for having a lot of low-density residential housing development, and so the sites are zoned that way. So we have a number of sites that we need to rezone to allow for a higher density to meet those income categories. And just to make it a little more complicated this time around, HCD has added all these other requirements, they have mapped resources in our county. So there's high resource areas, there's low resource areas, moderate resource areas. And we have to split the housing by income level up. We can't put it all in low resource areas, we have to put it in high resource areas as well. So they're looking at that. It makes it a little more challenging. The next slide you can see are communities where we have identified these sites all over the county, and mostly, you know, centralized to existing surrounding where existing cities are, because that's where we have services and we have residentially zoned land. And then the next slide, page 11, you can see the number of units broken up by community. And in Keys, we have identified 20 parcels for a total of 121 units.
So the county wants us to build 121 units in the next 8 years?
Yeah, and let me just clarify that piece, because the housing element doesn't require us to build anything.
Yeah.
What it does is it requires us to prove to the state that if someone wanted to build it,
Opportunities.
that they could, yeah. And so the last page I provided is actually separate from this slide. It's in color. I tried to make it a little bigger for you so that you could see where the sites are in Keys. And I don't know why. I don't have one of those. Yeah. I can't read the tiny writing. Yeah. So we have 3 rezone sites proposed in Keys, and 2 of them are on the corner of Norma and Washington. And you can see one of them is approximately 2 acres, and it's proposed for a maximum of 28 units. So that doesn't mean it has to construct or build the 28 units, it just has to be able to accommodate that number. And then another one, 1 acre with a maximum identified of 11 units.
Excuse me.
And then the third parcel is on 9th and Nunes and Grace. It's actually currently zoned highway commercial. All 3 of these parcels though have a Keys Community Plan designation of medium high density residential. So it's more conforming to the community plan designation than to their current zoning designation. So that parcel is 1.45 acres and for a maximum number of units of 23. So like I said, the last part of the housing element are our programs and actions. A lot of these are kind of similar to what we had before, but we are having to add a lot of new things because another thing that's being triggered with this housing element update are requirements for fire safety, for climate change adaptation, for affordably furthering fair housing, and environmental justice. So after we're done with this, we have to go do our rezones, and then we're going to update our safety element and our conservation of open space elements to reflect all those state changes. But within the housing element, which will be going to the Board of Supervisors for consideration probably like in February, the programs include programs around home rehab, affordable housing development assistance, assuring adequate sites, which is what I just went over with the RENA and the rezone program, and finding ways to house people with special needs, such as homeless, seniors, you know, large families with female head of household, things like that. And then, like I just mentioned, the affirmatively furthering fair housing and environmental justice programs and continuing fair housing services are also in there. And that's just a very brief overview. Some of the programs are just us meeting new state law. Others are us continuing programs we've always done, and then some are new. And then this is the end of our community outreach, really. The public review period already ended, but we wanted to come out to Keys so I could give you a little bit more time to get your comments before we submitted to HCD. So we probably have till like mid next week taking comments. I mean, we're never not going to take comments, but before we would prefer to have them before we submit it. So we're going to submit it to HCD for 90 days, and then we're going to schedule hearings for our planning commission and our board of supervisors. And then we will come back to you with these rezones, and there you can review those projects again, and we'll have more information about what, you know, the development might look like. And
so you'll only rezone it if the property owner wants that as a plan, correct?
we're doing it for them. We're paying. We did outreach to all the property owners, and no one responded to me, I don't wanna be included.
Okay.
The only response I got was, please include more of my
I
properties,
can't
or
picture
please.
Charlie Brown's property wanting to be rezoned.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Right, guys?
he didn't tell us no. And it's a $12,000 application fee and environmental review, which would probably cost like $60,000 that we're paying for, so.
I have a question, Christine. So on the site inventory summary, right now the ones that you were highlighting were the ones that are rezoned, but the other ones that you also have like in different colors, those are also available.
Those are sites that have the zoning in place, but are vacant or underutilized.
Got it, okay.
So we don't need to rezone them.
And see where you have our parcel where we're gonna put in our TCP treatment that they could.
Okay.
Yeah, that one right
Well,
there.
the top purple one's a drain basin.
Well, we don't have to build them.
This purple one is,
Yeah, but this one's a drain basin.
oh yeah, that one up there is.
So Charlie Brown ain't gonna relocate his property unless he's moving out of state and selling his land.
Which one is that?
Your big one right here.
The
Yeah.
drain? Oh, the 2-acre piece?
Yes. Isn't that Charlie Brown property? Yeah. That's one. I mean, I'm not speaking for him. I'm just.
They already worked out a deal and you don't know it.
I doubt. Yeah. I just doubt that's happening. Community members here agree with me, so.
So that's all I do have. That's about all I have on that, except for, I'm sure I tried to go too fast and probably didn't explain enough, but hopefully I did. Any questions?
What was your name?
My name, oh, sorry, that's what I was looking at. I'm forgetting something. My name is Christy, K-R-I-S-T-Y Dowd, D-O-U-D. I'm Deputy Director of Planning for Stanislaus County, and you can email me at dowdk, D-O-U-D-K, and it is on the last slide, at stancounty.com. With any comments, or you can email planning at stancounty.com with any comments that you have, or questions. That's it? Okay, so I have another project.
You gotta wait for the whole paragraph to be read.
Do I?
No.
Okay.
You actually.
Oh wait, do I have to vote on it?
It's okay, you can do it. I don't need it.
Okay, so the next one I'm here to present is a project that, so just to explain, when projects go through land use entitlements, we have several stages. So the first stage where it comes to you is an early consultation, 2-week referral stage. Sometimes projects are exempt and they won't ever come back. This one is not exempt. It's going to have an initial study. It's going to come back to you. And then it will be scheduled for a public hearing. So I'm just going to be honest, this project,
It's already done.
they built it in 2018 and then they were turned in by code enforcement and red tagged, and they had built an entire mini storage facility. I was looking at the aerials today, it's just like building by building appeared, a couple more every year, and then now they have about 8 mini storage facilities. They were red tagged and then they came in to get land use entitlements, and they'll have to get building permits afterwards if they're approved. So in order to get approved, they have to amend the community plan designation, which is some kind of residential right now. And then they also have to rezone because the zoning right now is A210, which is an agricultural zoning. So it's about 5-acre parcel. It's at 5024 Road between Esmar and Faith Home Roads. It sounds like one of you said you're familiar with it. You live by it?
I'll
I
drive
live
by
in the
it.
subdivision right next to it.
Okay.
Yeah.
I just drove past it on my way here.
Is the county looking to approve it?
You know, as long as they meet all of our standards,
Yeah.
and then there's not opposition or, you know. One thing I did ask for was a will serve letter because we require you to hook up to water and sewer if you're close with it, if you're within the boundaries of
Do you
service
have an
area.
office there?
What
They
they
do
do
have
is
an
kind of
office.
like a house in the.
But that house is already on the will serve. They already have service there.
They have well and septic.
Oh, really?
They're gonna have to hook up to water and sewer.
Well, didn't they just run fire hydrants down that street, out that way?
That was for Don's RV trying to.
I was just gonna say, yeah, it's adjacent to Don's RV
I
and
think Don RV's trying to grow
Canal
it.
separates the two.
subdivision to the south. Don's RV has permission to grow already. They already went through the land
They
use
did some,
entitlement
a little bit of
process.
expanding it already, but they,
They haven't done all of it, yeah.
yeah.
anyway, so, like I said, it was previously developed with a legal non-conforming duplex and a fourplex and a single-family dwelling, and those are legal, and they're gonna keep them. But the single-family dwelling, they did convert a portion of it into an office.
So I thought everything was already there.
And that, like I said, they started building in 2018 without building permits or land use entitlements.
The storage facility portion of it, is that?
Is now they have 13 mini storage buildings, and it's almost 40,000 square feet of mini storage.
And are they allowed to operate while they're doing all this?
They're not supposed to, but we typically have a policy that like,
As long as they're filing paperwork?
if you're doing it in a timely manner, you're trying, that we're not gonna be fining you.
And Mary, you see no issue from the county?
Well, I don't, obviously that's the
This
county
is-
side of it.
This is the process we go through to find out if there are
That's-
issues.
I mean, that's what the MAC's here for. If we gotta make
Right.
that action item, we wanna know what the county's thinking.
Well,
Yes.
like she said, I think right now is like if they are doing everything that they're doing, unfortunately, they didn't get the pre-authorization
Yeah.
to do the stuff, obviously, but I mean, the biggest concern is like, is there any concern from the community?
Yeah.
Right?
There's no
So,
red flags from the.
I will tell you that they have some really ugly fencing on the back that's like metal that we're gonna make them replace because we don't allow solid metal fencing. They're gonna have to have some kind of agricultural buffer because there is ag land behind them. They're gonna have to hook up to water and sewer. They're gonna have to get building permits. And then if they can meet all those standards, then they would be, if approved first, then meet all those standards, then they would be in compliance.
And then Jeff, so what'll happen is obviously, planning will gather all the community feedback and so forth, take to the planning commission. The planning commission will then make a recommendation to the
Yeah.
board of supervisors. So right now, this is, if you guys have any of that concern.
But this is an action item, so we need to make a vote on it.
Yeah, if you have any concerns on it and making that, whether you support for this to move forward.
And you can also wait till the initial study phase. I mean, it's whatever you want to do.
Jen, I make a motion to, approve going along as they follow all the county guidelines.
I second.
Let me write this down quick.
I guess I have a question. Who let them build all this stuff in the first place without the permits?
Who let them?
Yeah,
I mean, I don't think anyone let them. They just did it.
they just did it, okay.
Yeah. And
See, they're not checking the alleys, they're not checking empty lots.
They definitely improved the looks of that property.
That,
Like,
I'll give them that.
Yeah.
They did clean it up quite a bit, but it was
Quite a bit.
just,
But
I never realized that they
It
didn't
had-
have any permits to do this stuff.
it seems egregious.
What's that?
It seems egregious. It's a lot of buildings to build
Yeah.
building
Wow.
permits.
But those, some of those structures are old.
They did it in the public.
And see, this thing, right, like the county is reactive, we
Someone turned
don't,
them in.
yeah, we don't know what happened, like she said, somebody did turn them in and they got red tagged and it's like, okay, now you need to go through the whole process,
But
like.
they're not driving around looking for lots being built on, I know that.
But I did talk to the property owner, and he mentioned, I really cleaned this property up, and there was homeless people here, and now there's not. And I don't know. So is that true? Because that's what he told me.
It's pretty tore up.
It was tore up.
Okay.
It was pretty beat, it was a pretty
Yeah.
beat up place before they were building. When they put it in there, it looked nice. I just didn't realize they didn't have any permits to do it.
Steve now is gonna be like, does he have a permit?
Steve,
Now I'm gonna be looking at all of it.
so I'm first,
Yeah, okay, we have a motion.
You can actually look that up on our website.
Okay.
Yeah.
Okay, we have a motion and a second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Opposed, no, motion carries.
Okay.
All right.
Any other questions for me? Okay. Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you, Christy. Have a good evening.
Okay, now, consider and approve the municipal advisory council meeting calendar for 2024.
Already asked me to speak on this one, so I'm sorry.
Yes.
So it's a double-sided paper. So the front one is just, it's still considered to be draft because not all the maps have approved their calendar just yet. But these are all the meetings that I help oversee throughout the county on a monthly basis. On the back, you have what so there's a light shade of blue, which is your regular scheduled quarterly meetings,
Yes.
right? And then you'll have the darker shaded blue, which is what it would look like if you guys wanted to consider to go on a monthly meeting. And again, I'm not persuading you guys one way or the other. One of the things that I have noticed from several of the other maps, as a matter of fact, They were meeting on a monthly basis, and on some of them are now going quarterly. One of the most recent ones is Knights Ferry. So it just depends, right? Like sometimes you have something that is of consistent concern, or whatever the case may be. And I always want you guys to know that we can always schedule a special meeting. So I'm just throwing that out there just for reference, that you can go on ahead and do it on a monthly basis. You can go on ahead and keep it on a quarterly basis, and then schedule a special meeting if it need be. And then again, the other thing that I want to remind the community and the members is, like, you represent your community, right? I have always said you don't need to wait for a MAC meeting to bring up any concerns. You have my phone number, you have your supervisor district phone number, and people in the community know you guys as well. So there's many ways, but absolutely this is a venue where people can come in, and when you saw the number of representatives that were here today that can hear your respective concerns and be mindful of that. So I just wanted to send to you guys like what it would look like if you were to choose to meet on the third Thursday of the month every month, or the third Thursday on a quarterly basis, which would be January, April, July, and October. If you choose to meet on a monthly basis, please note that the majority, you can see on the opposite side, that there's no meetings in December just because of the holidays. And then some of the MACs will cut off like meeting the second week of November because, again, the holidays. So if you noticed, I put November 21st for you guys on there, but you know, it's pretty close to Thanksgiving, people taking vacation, whatever the case may be. So just propose, you tell me which way you want to go and make that motion, and I will make sure that I take that back and adjust it.
I'm the only one who's been on the board since it's been changed. We met monthly for decades, and then we went to quarterly because most of the people presenting tonight are quarterly reports anyways.
Yeah.
And then, yeah, we were one of the first ones to go quarterly. It looks like almost everybody, or at least half, is quarterly now.
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember when I first came to this MAC meeting 10 years ago. Of course, Jeff was on here, and everybody would just come here and read their reports to each other, and that was it, because we couldn't get nobody to show up for the longest time. And that is one of the reasons why I started videotaping these meetings, to see if the community would get interested in coming to the meetings, and by seeing those, and that was the purpose for that. But again, for the most part, I'm with Jeff. I'd like to see it stay on quarterly, unless all of a sudden we get a lot of.
We've always said if something happens, we'll meet monthly, we'll meet weekly, you know.
Yeah, exactly.
You know,
We have no issue with that.
When
but-
we did the park, we had to meet every 2 weeks, you know, like you said, there's reasons.
But there's really not that much to discuss on a monthly basis.
And one other thing that I wanted to bring up, like for example, if planning has a project that, you know, we know is gonna be a significant concern for the community, you know, they normally try to follow your guys' calendar, but if necessary, that again, we hold a special meeting to discuss the project, and I think we have done it one time already.
Town halls and stuff.
Yeah, we've done that a couple of times, if I
Sure.
remember, so,
Yeah, we
again,
had
you
that-
have that flexibility.
Yeah, we had that special meeting when we went into, about the truck plaza.
Yes.
Yes.
I think they would call that exigent circumstances.
So I don't know if you wanna ask feedback from your community as well, to see if that is something for them to consider, it's up to you.
Well, Mr. Rowlanders, do you want to bring this up every month or every 3 months?
3 months is fine.
Yeah, 3 months.
But the
3
people,
months.
I don't think, know about it like they should. And so is there a way to get the people notified that this is happening every 3 months?
Josie and I can say we did this for 20 years, advertising, bringing people in. They get what they want solved and they never come back.
That's it.
That's, I mean,
And on top of everything else, just wanna reiterate, and as a friendly reminder, we've actually have sent out postcards twice. We did it in I know I did it this year, in January. I sent a massive distribution list to each one of the unincorporated areas that is represented by their respective MACs. And that was a huge mass mail that went out. And then I did it like 2 years prior to that as well.
You did it in 2020, and then the COVID crisis.
Yeah.
hit.
Yes.
but
And then we did it again.
And then
Yep.
all the meetings went on.
Josie and I walked this whole
Yeah.
neighborhood advertising
Yeah.
ourselves.
Yeah.
I
So,
understand that, but like in this community, the people probably don't get the word.
Yeah.
And I
so they
think-
forget, but they need to get it and get it on their calendar so they can know.
But they
and I
always
think
find out when
Ernie,
there's a
I
problem.
think you had talked about
They
even
know
putting
it.
it possibly on your, letter that you send out for the community services district, right? I think you had talked about doing something like that, if it was a possibility. So maybe once approving the calendar, if you guys just wanna do like a little box that says, hey, just as a friendly reminder, you have your keys MAC that meets on a quarterly basis, these are the scheduled dates.
Yeah, that would be great.
That's a nice.
Is that
We
what
have
you're
that
talking about,
working
sending out on the monthly bill?
Yeah,
Yeah.
Well, that's what I was gonna say too.
Oh.
Thank you.
great idea.
He told you back there in the back of the.
He whispered it
Yeah.
to me.
We can always have a flyer at the library too.
Yeah, there you go. So, I mean, there's ways, right? So, but like I said, most importantly, it's word of mouth and a hot topic that'll bring the people out. That's just, yeah, so,
Well,
anyway.
They have a
Okay,
problem,
so-
like I've got these problems.
Do you make a
They
motion
come
to
to
stay
say-
with the quarterly, or?
Yeah, I'll make a motion to stick with the quarterly, and I'd like the motion to also say that, we all agree to meet as necessary. Because every time we've done quarterly and we talk about the calendar, I wanna make sure that we know that it's as necessary. Like we've had for the truck stop, they needed an answer right away, we met within 2 weeks, we followed all the Brown Act rules, and we did what was important, so.
Okay.
Let me write this.
And then get word to the representatives like Condon and whoever's supposed to be here, right?
Well, they get the calendar. and
Yeah,
they come
they
quarterly.
know.
Yeah.
So, just for clarification, I support the board of supervisors. I work with Stanislaus County Chief Executive Office, and we oversee 26 different departments. So as I've explained in the past, like if there is a specific concern that is addressed by one of our respective departments, it's really easy for me to tap on the shoulder of the department head and say, hey, I need you to show up, this is the concern, this is what we need to be addressed. I have your notes. And like I said, the two that you brought up,
They're video.
the sound barrier wall, and
That's
then.
Caltrans.
That's Caltrans, but nonetheless, I did bring it to the attention of your supervisor, and then there was, I have my notes.
Isn't
There was
that dirt
something-
hump considered a sound barrier and it's probably just got smaller? Remember back in the, they
It
made
was,
that hump on
it
purpose.
was the trees that were there,
Oh.
obviously that add to it, but like, it is something that is a significant cost, and there can be some coordination that could possibly happen, but definitely it's on Caltrans' side
Yeah.
of things, right?
But I think that's what that mound it was for.
Right, yeah, well, that's not quite big enough.
Not big enough
It's
anymore.
probably eroded in 20 years.
As far as other towns or cities, whatever, Delhi's getting one done through there right now. They've made that three-lane freeway go through there, then they brought it back down to 2, and they're doing
Yeah.
a barrier, a wall they're building
Yeah.
from Shanks all the way to south.
And that is all Caltrans, but
Yeah.
yes, I noted, yeah, exactly. Okay, so back to your
I made a
motion.
motion.
Yeah,
I'll second.
first and second, all in favor, say aye.
Aye.
Aye, opposed, no, motion carries.
I will amend it and I'll send you a revised
All
copy.
right, thank you.
We got one more dead horse. And we're gonna do that road, this road over here. Now this will be from 9th Street to Keys Road again. My truck's getting wrecked.
Yeah.
Matter of fact, got a little bit of something's loose over there.
Okay, moving on, correspondence. Do we have any correspondence?
Nope.
No. Council comments, suggestions for future agendas? Anybody have anything? No. How about adjournment? Motion to adjourn?
I made all the motions, I'm not doing that one, I'll stay here all night.
I'll make a motion to adjourn.
I second.
Have a motion, first and second, all in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Aye. Motion carries. We're adjourned. Thank you very much.
On that road.
So is it public